Hello, my name is Larry Martin and I'm a solutions consultant with Beyond 20. Today I'm going to show you how to do something fairly cool inside of Cherwell, and what that is we're going to take an email monitor and we're going to forward the incoming email to the actual customer of the incident. Now you may be going, well, why would you do that? That makes no sense. Well, interestingly enough, we had a client recently who has a third-party vendor who they get services through. As part of those services, they will send an email to that third-party vendor and request work. The third-party vendor will track in their own system, and when all the work is completed, they will send an email back, and that email is going back to the Cherwell email monitor and addressed to the Cherwell email default account. Well, inside of that email, there may be instructions for the end user. Examples of this might be a voicemail password reset, or maybe directions to where to pick a vehicle up, any number of things that you can think of depending upon the line of business you're in. And if you're using a third-party vendor to provide those services, they're going to send that information back. Now, you could sit there and take that information in and say, they sent this information back, now let me go contact the customer and provide this information. Or you can use what I'm going to show you today and actually forward the email from the vendor straight on to the customer, while also journaling that information inside the Cherwell incident. In this case, you're going to not only journal the email that you get back from the vendor saying, hey, we've completed this body of work, we've provided information to the customer, but also you're going to journal the email going from the email monitor out to the customer saying, hey, the third-party vendor has provided this information, which in turn will allow you to do cool things like fully automate the process, resolve your incident, and make sure that the customer is getting the information they need to be able to resolve that incident. So that's the overview of what we're doing. Now, due to our development environment, we're always very, very careful to never send email in and out. So I'm continuing that practice. So I'm using our third-party application called PaperCut, which is the local SMTP trap. And you can see here where I've got my original email that would be outgoing, and it was captured. So what I did was, inside of a Gmail account, I took the email with the message ID and I sent that to the Gmail account, and I added the subject line that I wanted to have in the subject, which is set up in my mail monitor, and added the incident ID to it. When that went to the Gmail account, the Cherwell email monitor picked it up, saw that the customer on record was Andrew Sims, and that the subject line was this, and it sent this same exact message to the customer. So how did I do this? Well, first, in our admin tool, we're going to go to our email and event monitoring. We're going to go to our demo monitoring. Now, this is just saying use the Gmail account, and whenever you've processed a record, mark it as read. I don't have folders set up to move things to and from. And what I'll do is I'll just mark the message that was sent. I'll just mark it as unread, and we'll see Cherwell take action again. It's actually a very neat process. So back in the admin client, we have our email monitor. We're identifying our customer, and our monitor is this forward email to customer. We edit this, and as you can see, forward email to customer. I put a good description here, so if you're looking at the video, you can kind of see what it's doing. Now, we're IDing our existing record. We're looking for our conversation ID. We're trying to match on subject. and we're looking for demo forwarding email, a number after that. Remember here, demo forwarding email, and there's our incident number, which matches this incident. Next, our conditions. So we want to make sure that we're not forwarding every email in the system out to every person in the system. And since we're very specifically generating this demo forwarding email subject line, we can say only when the subject contains demo forwarding email. Now you can get very creative here, but always make sure that be very specific about what you put in these subjects, and you will be able to really narrow down the potential for errors and ensure that you know exactly what to be looking for, etc. Now the magic happens here in our actions. In our actions, I've created a one step. This one step is forward email to customer. And in the one step, this is a key piece. Under the conditions, we want to show custom tokens email. Now what that does is it ensures us that we can see the email when it's coming in and grab fields from it. So then my next step in this one step is to send an email. This is where we're forwarding it to the customer. Now, this is bad practice, but since my system is set up as a dev system, I decided to, for this scenario, I'm not using the current system state expression. That is a very specific case. You should always use that so that you don't accidentally send email out to customers and end users before you're ready for them to get those. But in this case, I'm forwarding it to the customer email so you can actually see that it's picking up Andrew Sims' email. The next thing we're doing is in our subject line, we're simply taking, and this is why we enable the token, the subject from the email that's coming in, and body into the body. This allows us to forward that email. So again, under the conditions, we want to show custom tokens email, and that allows us to pick the subject and the email or body out of the email that's incoming. Now, the way this works, based off all that, is the email monitor sees this come in, or sees the reply come in. So this email I sent from my Beyond 20 account because it doesn't work if you are the sender and receiver. So my Beyond 20 email account sent me an email that says, and I'm leaving the text here for a moment so that you can copy it as I've written some general instructions and information about it. So it's a demonstration of how to have Cherwell forward an email to a customer from the email monitor, talking about a recent client with a third-party vendor. The email emulates sending to the vendor, so all I did was I took an email out of PaperCut, I copied the contents, and then put that in my Beyond 20 email account and forwarded it over. Depending on how you have your system set up, you can replicate that functionality. Once the email is in here, I have an inbox for my demo system. And let's look at the incident real quick. So as you can see, we have 6 journals where I did some demoing and testing to make sure that what I was providing you was accurate and that it worked. And we'll just go ahead and look at these. You can see that this email is an email from Larry Martin to my Gmail account, demo forwarding. This email went to Andrew Sims, the customer. So what we're going to do, if you remember, I said in the email monitor I have it set to look for unread messages and to mark them red when they're read. We had 6 journals on our incident, and we have PaperCut. I have 2 email in PaperCut. We're waiting for our email monitor to pick up that unread message, and there it is. Now what we have here, remember I said PaperCut captures all outgoing email. So the email came in from the monitor. Cherwell picked it up, read the rule in the email monitor, and said, "Oh, I need to forward this to the customer. Here's my subject. Here's my body." And since we have our message ID here, the message ID goes as well. Now that third-party vendor who responded to our Cherwell system with information for the customer has now got that information going to the customer because of this work. And we had 6 journal entries. Let's refresh our screen because we have the email monitor message coming into us. So journaling our email that's going out to Andrew and journaling the reply from the Gmail account. So this is as if Larry from Beyond 20, third-party vendor, sent an email to our Cherwell system Gmail account, and it's journaling my response to the system. Anyhow, there are a lot of ways that you can use this. It can be a very specific use case, but in this case, having a third-party vendor involved in your process that's not using your Cherwell system, this can make things work very nicely for you. I hope you found this useful. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel. We do these videos every week for you. If you have questions, feel free to post those in the YouTube channel, and someone will either reply to you and or will produce a video with an answer for you. Have a great day.